What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chicken Noodle Gamer, where today I am doing a good old-fashioned angry reaction video, because everyone loves those. We're going to play a little game called How Long Does It Take for Chicken Noodle Gamer to Get Angry, and I'm just going to watch this this hour-long Sonic 2 movie review, and we're just going to see how long it takes for me to get abnormally pissed about it. Now this is a review made by Arlo. He's a gaming YouTuber. I am a big fan. I love all of his videos, and he's a really good guy. Really good puppet. Really good thing. Blue Monster. There we go. But I watched this review and I just hated everything about it, and I just feel like I should respectfully voice my opinion here. And I'd just like to put this disclaimer here just to know that, like, no hate towards Arlo. I really love his videos, and no matter how mad I get during this video, it does not reflect how I feel about Arlo and his content and him as a puppet person, whatever. So if you want to watch me get pissed over stupid stuff, stay tuned. Let's get into it. Don't want it to be too loud now.
This video was brought to you by Skillshare.
We do not need your sponsorships, Arlo. Cease. Moving on. Where we go? Right.
Down in the description, or use the code ARLO13 at checkout, will get 30% off their first year with Skillshare, which is 3 months free. This is the best deal they've ever done. Now, back to this short story. Arlo... behind. Sit down. Just take a seat. We need to talk. And you're probably not gonna like this. And you know what? I'm not gonna enjoy this either. Okay? This this hurts me just as much as it does you.
Watch him just really hammer home that he does not like this movie.
But we're going to talk about the Sonic 2 movie. Send the kids to bed. You know, this this isn't a fun video where a blue monster talks about the fun new Sonic movie. So just send those kiddies to bed. A little background. To this day, I am confused. So confused about the reception to the first Sonic movie versus Detective Pikachu. I still don't get it. I feel like I'm being gaslit by the whole world. They came out fairly close to each other, and I felt that Detective Pikachu was the only video game adaptation I've ever seen that tried to be true to the source material. It took place in the Pokemon world. It had Pokemon acting the way that Pokemon do. It actually tried. It was literally actually written, we know, confirmed by people like my age who actually like Pokemon. Not as many people like that movie. Then you have the Sonic movie, where the trailer was bad, and the humor, and then they changed the design, and that was better, but, like, it was still just this mediocre, milquetoast Hollywood schlock.
You know, I really don't understand why people hated Detective Pikachu. Like, when I saw it in the theaters, I fucking loved it. It was a great movie. And I also loved the first Sonic movie. But I don't understand. Everyone said, like, oh, Detective Pikachu was predictable. And I was like, yeah, the spoilers, I guess. The Ryan Reynolds being Pikachu in the end, the dad, like, that was, that was predictable, but I didn't really predict anything else. And it's just generally a good movie. It's a funny movie. I don't know why people hate it.
And everyone liked it. And I didn't like it. And I still don't get that was like a faithful adaptation. To me, it was just nobody who had ever played a Sonic game in their life wrote that movie, is what it felt like. It had very little to do with Sonic. It was just kind of like Blue Funny Man. It was like Sonic Go Fast and Robot Eggman, bad man who likes robots. That was it. That's the end. Rings, something about rings. I don't know. So like, I still don't get it. And it's happening all over again here. All over again here. Am I seeing the same movie that other people are seeing?
Okay, this is where I get lost. What? Let's give him time to elaborate.
And just to like, I feel like it goes without saying, but like, just to start things off, like, most people like the movie. That's cool. I'm not going to tell you you can't like the movie. That's great. I'm happy, genuinely happy for you, okay? This is Arlo. This is Arlo giving Arlo's opinion. So, with that said, I go into the second movie, and I'm like, they can only go up from here. The first movie started out as like a really bad Hollywood adaptation that like, then, okay, so then, you know, they brought in Tyson Hesse and they redid the art, and that's cool. And so I'm like, okay, second movie, they got it. They're going to bring in more people who know what they're doing, who know how to write a good Sonic movie. You know what I mean? And you can tell by the trailer, there's so much more just imagery, just Sonic-related imagery, all the references and stuff. And
You see, this is a clever tactic he's using. He's using a beautiful thing called subversion of expectations, where he talks about how he wishes it was good and how it seems like it's going to be good, and then he's going to flip the script and be like, it was bad. See, that's really clever of Arlo here. He knows what he's doing. But Arlo, allow me to explain why the first Sonic movie is the way that it is. It's a setup. I don't know if you've noticed, but video game movies have a bad reception. Always. Just like 100% of the time. They're bad. And what's one thing all of those video game movies have in common? They're all set in the universe of that game. Now, I'm not saying that's the main reason they're all bad. It's thanks to bad writing, a lack of understanding for the source material. But they tried something different with Sonic. They tried like, hey, what if we made a Sonic movie, but we didn't jump immediately into all the Sonic game lore and stuff and all that? And what if we just introduced the character of Sonic and the character of Dr. Robotnik in this real world of ours type movie? And so they did like a Smurfs hop thing, but like actually enjoyable instead of just the worst. And that was the setup. You have Sonic, you introduce Sonic as a character, and the post credits for the first movie introduce Tails. And at the end of the first movie, you shave Robotnik's head, give him his classic game look. It was all a setup. They gave you this this Sonic movie that has very little to do with Sonic, so it could rake in a general audience and gain traction. And then from then forward, they can delve into the actual lore of Sonic with confidence that it will perform well. That was the idea there.
I'm just like, it's going to be like, you know, like it can only go up from the first movie. I just kept thinking that. Like, I did not have high expectations. I was like, I'd be happy if it was one single step up from that first movie. That would make me happy. And I try to go into any movie with an open mind. Always. You know, people will accuse you of being like, oh, you were just grumpy. You just expected that. Like, no, man. Like, I can enjoy a movie. I know how to enjoy a movie. Okay? I can go in with an open mind. And like when I brought the same friends with me, it was Brian, Dan, and Nolan. We all went to see the first one. When we came out of that movie, this is a lot of setup, I know. But you know what? Buckle in. Buckle in. This is what we're doing. I told you to sit down. When we came out of that first movie, I was like, that was mediocre. Not like bad, but not good. It was just whatever. Dan kind of hated it. Brian didn't really like it. Nolan was like, it was okay. Like, okay, you know, like, all right, kind of middling to lower to sort of a... We walked out of this movie shocked. All four of us. Shocked. Confused. Even Nolan, he had the highest opinion of the first one, and just, we were baffled. Just baffled. And you know what? I was tempted to record. It was late last night. I was still buzzing with the adrenaline of how I felt about the movie. And, you know, and we all talk about, you know, a lot of the things in this review were kind of hashed out, like, after the movie. We're all talking about it and ranting about it and stuff. And, like, and I give credit to my friends. If I say anything that, like, one of them said, I felt that I owed it to you, my wonderful audience, to sleep on it. I didn't...
You see, that's a very respectable thing. Because emotions can be, kind of rile people up. And this is exactly what I did with this video. I slept on it. I was very angry watching this video originally. And then I gave it a day. And here I am. And who knows if my anger will be subdued because of that. But that's what you gotta do as, like, a content creator. You can't just jump into your emotions immediately. So, you know, respect to Arlo.
Come straight into the studio like I wanted to. I thought, like, you gotta let your brain process it. You gotta let your emotions kind of come down. You know, I don't want to be, I don't like strong, negative, emotional reactions. I don't do that on this channel, you know? It's too much. I'll have a strong, positive reaction, but, like, I don't want to just be, like, angry. That's not what I do. I did that once, and it was when they revealed Hey Pikmin, and I removed that video, because it's just, I don't want to do that. So I slept on it. I owed it to you. And I woke up this morning, I might have been, I mean, I wasn't less angry. I wasn't less baffled and angry. Sleeping on it didn't do much. I'm just going to say that. This is a spoilery review. Go see the movie. The movie's out, you know, I don't know, like, if you don't want spoilers, you could just turn it off now, because you get where I'm going with this. You get where I'm going with this.
I think it goes without saying, but spoiler warning for this video too, because if he's spoiling it, then I'm spoiling it.
But I have to. I got it. Like, I have to talk about some of the specific things in this book. I have to, because I feel so strongly, so strongly about them. Okay, so the movie starts, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this. It starts off so slowly. It's so... Oh my gosh, the first chunk of the movie, we're all squirming. We're literally squirming in our seats.
Have you no patience, my friend? How the fuck? It's not a slow opening. It's not. It really isn't. Like, literally at all. It opens with, like, a 3-minute scene of Eggman meeting Knuckles and getting off the mushroom planet. And then it jumps immediately into an action scene. Then it has like 1 2-minute long downtime scene before it has a little party montage of Sonic, and then like immediately kicks off the plot. It's like at the most 10 minutes before Sonic re-meets Eggman and fights Knuckles for the first time. It's not slow at all. I don't know what he's saying here.
Because it's so boring, and it's just, it takes so long to get anywhere, and it's all the same, just like the human stuff and the regular real world modern living stuff and the sappy emotional stuff, the monologues like from the first movie, and like
Get 1 to 2 day prescription
Oh, no.
delivery or pick it up now at
Ads.
CVS. Healthier happens together.
This season, get ready for something new. You'll find everything you
Apologies,
need at Raymore
my
and
dear
Flanagan.
viewers.
this is me. Okay, not everyone agrees with me, obviously. There's a lot of Sonic media where he is with humans in a human world. It's usually not even the real world. It's at the very least in that case, it's Sonic in its like in an alternate human world. So
Wait,
it's
sorry,
still
what
sort
did you
of
just say?
in a human of Sonic me. This is me. Okay, not everyone agrees with me, obviously. There's a lot of Sonic media where he is with
okay.
humans
I thought he said there wasn't a lot. I was gonna be like, what?
in a human world. It's usually not even the real world. It's at the very least in that case, it's Sonic in its like in an alternate human world. So it's still sort of fantasy. I have always felt like Sonic is at his weakest when he is around humans.
And that is your opinion. But that also leads me to believe that you're not really like a big diehard Sonic fan. Like I'm not gonna accuse you of anything, but throughout this entire video you only show footage from the Genesis games, and you say multiple times throughout this video it's like your main point on why you don't like this movie. It's like the only thing you keep rapping back to is that, oh my god, humans. And like that just leads me to believe you don't like the adventure games, you don't like Unleashed, you don't like the vast majority of like some of the best Sonic games. And it seems like maybe you're not the most qualified to be complaining about human antics in Sonic. I don't know. I feel like I'm coming off as an asshole. Just disregard that point.
The best Sonic show was the one where it's just Sonic and his animal friends fighting Robotnik. They're in, you know what I mean? Like they're in
Which one? Sad I Am? Because like there's 3 of those. There's like 3 Sonic cartoons where it's just Sonic and his fantasy animal friends. I feel like you're talking about Sad I Am though.
fantasy world. That's cool. That's awesome. You put them in a city and there's people. I don't like it. I just think it's not fun. You're taking this fun fantasy character with his own cool world and making it so like already I'm not a fan of these movies, especially because it's the real world.
Well, the Sonic and human thing is so we could tell a more grounded story. Like Sonic writers like to tell serious stories a good amount of the time. Like, obviously not with fucking Generations or Colors, but like Forces, they tried to tell a serious story, and in the adventure games they want to tell a serious story, Unleashed, Heroes even. And it's a lot easier to tell a grounded story that people can take seriously when you're dealing with real people in a real world. Like in Adventure 2, when Eggman fucking blows up the moon and starts threatening the president, people can inherently take that more seriously because it's more relatable and more grounded in reality. Because a lot of people can't immerse themselves fully into a fantasy world or take it at all seriously, especially when it's fucking Sonic on South Island with big fat Eggman robot fighting robots and shit. I have no problem immersing myself completely in a fantasy world, but a lot of people can't do that, and I've noticed that while just like being on the internet and watching video game reviews, like of Paper Mario, for example. I've heard so many people be like, "Oh my god, I can't immerse myself in the story because of this, because there's like jokes and shit," and I'm like, "Shut up, please." It's not that hard to immerse yourself in a story, but whatever. That's besides the point. Point is, that's why humans are in the Sonic franchise.
Our modern real world. So even at its core, it's difficult for me to enjoy these movies. You know, And so, like, I already really don't like this whole, like, James Marsden, Tika Sumpter, like, family thing. You know, like, I'm a kid and I'm playing Sonic and it's like, hey, there's going to be a Sonic movie someday. I'm not imagining James Marsden and Tika Sumpter lecturing Sonic about responsibility.
Okay, Arlo. The vibe I'm getting from you is that you don't want a story in this movie. You don't want characters. You don't want any sort of relationship between anyone with anyone. You just want to see Sonic run fast and Tails fly and Knuckles punch, and that's about it. I know it seems like I'm jumping to conclusions right now, but that's basically he just hammers this point home throughout the entire video. Like, let's move on.
Treating him like a kid. You know what I mean? That's not. So the opening is, it's a slog, just a slog, and it's all the same jokes and all the same themes, and like just immediately, it's pretty quickly apparent that this was not like picked up by a totally new writing team who's going to invigorate everything. No, this is a sequel. This is a direct sequel to the last movie. The feel, the vibe, everything about it is, they didn't change that. And so, like, it goes on and on. I'm waiting for the movie to pick up. I know cool stuff is going to happen. I've seen the trailers. It's going to be cool. There's going to be Knuckles and there's Tails. So, like, they finally show up. Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah, after the dreadful beginning 10 minutes, right, Arlo?
Knuckles and Tails and Eggman are there, and they're confronting Sonic. They're doing it in a house. They just kind of show up to his house. Okay, that's awkward, but sure, whatever. They're gonna do something cool. And then, like, Knuckles is fighting Sonic, and Tails saves him by hitting him with a police car. Like, he steals a police car and drives it and hits Knuckles with it. And it's just like, okay, again, watching a Sonic movie. A Sonic movie!
Arlo, stop it. Stop it, please. I can't, it annoys me so much when you do this, Arlo. I feel like you do it all the time. You're just like, you can't just keep repeating, it's a Sonic movie, and expect the point to be made. Your point is that Sonic should not take place in the real world. That's your point. But that requires an inherent reality that Sonic does not belong in the real world. But through a vast majority of the games, we've been shown that Sonic can be in the real world. So by exclaiming, it's a Sonic movie, that means jack fucking shit, because in the Sonic games, a lot of the time they're in the real world.
With Sonic and Tails and Knuckles, and Tails just hit Knuckles with a police car. Okay. Is that the Sonic movie you would write if you were writing like, honestly, would you write that into your Sonic movie? Okay, I'm trying not to get hung up on too.
Yeah, actually, I would. I would write that into my Sonic movie. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because I understand that jumping right into the source material and being immersed in the actual fully straight up game universe of Sonic in a movie is inaccessible to the vast majority of people and would be very hard to write. As I explained earlier, the reason it takes place in the real world is to get a general audience, so people who like Sonic can be here and enjoy the Sonic stuff, and people who don't like Sonic can still enjoy it because it's not 100% Sonic Universe shit. There's other stuff. Like, I'm a big Sonic fan, but I also understand that a literal Sonic movie that takes place on South Island would not make any money. Like, I'd be surprised if I made a single dollar profit off of that movie.
There's a lot to talk about. And I thought this would be the point in the movie where, like, it would get good. But instead, this is the moment in the movie when everything falls apart. And the plot loses all semblance of a structure. I mean, I'm not the kind of person who's going to sit there and analyze the 3 acts of the movie and all that stuff. You know, you want to break formulas sometimes if it works. But, like, I cannot remember, honestly, cannot remember the last time I watched a movie that was so sloppily structured, so horribly paced. There is no first, second, third act. It's just like the beginning, and then stuff happens until the end.
Arlo, I am sorry, man, but come on. Can you use a few brain cells for me for a minute, please? Thank you very much, sir. I understand that the human brain is going to be less forgiving to things that we don't like. I understand that you walked into this movie, you didn't like this movie, and so you are not going to think about it all the way through and give it the credit it deserves because you didn't like it and you don't want to. I understand that. And the same thing is happening with me probably on the reverse end. Like, some of your valid criticisms I might disregard just because I don't want to acknowledge them. That's just how we work. That's just how we are. That's how our brains work. But listen to me for a second and think with me for a second about the movie, and you cannot tell me that there isn't a structure. Like, literally, off the top of my head, right now, Act 1, from when Dr. Eggman gets off the mushroom planet, all the way to when they activate that map and get that message from Longclaw. That's Act 1 right there. Act 2 is from when they go to Siberia, all the way until Eggman claims the Master Emerald for himself. And then Act 3 is from that point till the end. It's very simple. It is not that hard to grasp. That is the simple 3-act structure. This point is the most bullshit point I've heard so far.
You know what I mean? I don't know where we're going or how we're going to get there. It's just kind of stuff happening. I felt like I was there in the writer's room with them on a big old-timey typewriter. I'm sure that's what they all use. Trying to just come up with another thing for the characters to do. A scene for them to just kind of do a thing. Just to pad out the runtime a little bit more. Okay, where could they go now? What could divert them from... You know what I mean? Like, it was so... I felt like I was there with them. And they were throwing everything at the dartboard, we were joking after the movie. It's like they threw everything at the wall and saw what stuck. And nothing stuck. It's just none of it stuck. It was just all of the nonsense that you'd throw into a movie in, like, the early idea process, and they didn't cut any of it. You're supposed to, like, cut down from there. They didn't.
Funny of you to say that, because in all the other Sonic Movie 2 reviews I've seen so far, they complain that it was overcut. They complain that the first scene feels very choppy, and that everything feels kind of cut up. So look at you on the other side of the spectrum saying that it's not at all cut. Nothing was cut. This isn't really a rebuttal to any of your criticisms. I just find that interesting.
They just left it all in. They took every idea anyone came up with, and they were like, we are going to force this to work. Okay. So Tails and Sonic, they hit Knuckles with a car or whatever. They get away from Knuckles and Eggman, and it's like, all right, here we go. They've got like they've got a quest. They've got a thing they're gonna do. They're gonna go after the Master Emerald. This is gonna get good. An emerald, a Chaos Emerald, awesome. I'm here. I'm watching. Here we go. And then, oh no, the first thing they do immediately, they warp to some snowy mountain. Cool, this is getting epic. What's that building over there? Let's see. Well, you know, in the first movie, there was a scene where they go into a seedy bar with a bunch of angry people who are gonna beat them up, and Sonic has to pretend like, yeah, they just do that again. Except this time it's Sonic and Tails. They just do it again. Except this time it's like, it's, you know, and it's it's in another country. They don't speak the language, so then they have like the classic like mistranslation joke where it's like, oh, can I have a bowl of soup? And then the translator says, you smell like farts today. And it's like, great, yeah, I haven't seen that joke before. So like all of these people, so it's the same thing. It's a bar, and all these people, when they realize that Sonic and Tails aren't really strange little people, they're actually whatever they are, they don't even, like, this movie has the most crazy cartoon logic. They don't even react. They don't even, like, what's going on? They're just like, monsters, throw them in the fireplace. Like, literally, that's the first thing they go to, is just pick them up and throw them in the fireplace.
Yeah, Arlo, I'll be honest with you here. This cabin scene is definitely the worst scene in the entire movie. It's the one scene that I could say, like, bothered me a bit. It just felt, like, disconnected from the rest of the movie, and the vibe they gave off just felt so over the top, unnecessary. Like, it was like some made-for-TV Disney movie. I don't like this scene. But also, the entire vibe is that these guys are tough guys. They're like, ooh, look at me, I stab a knife into a table, and I have tattoos, and I look at you with a snarl. And then everybody's all tough and menacing and over the top, and that's their character. So, to uncloak Sonic and Tails and freak out and be like, what? Like you're suggesting, it would make more sense, sure, but then that would be out of character for these people who are introduced as just these menacing guys. So, like, it makes more sense for them to do what they did for their character, because they're supposed to be these tough guys who aren't fazed by anything and will stab you in the fucking throat if you don't eat my tongue stew. So they see that they're monsters and they're like, oh, monsters, and then they fucking pick them up and try and kill them because they're tough guys from Siberia.
And then they get away from them throwing in the fireplace by having a dance battle. Again,
dance battle? Stupid. I didn't like that. But I also saw it with my friend. Sorry. Fuck. I sneezed. I saw this with my friend, and no idea if this is actually true, but my friend, he's smart. He knows a lot about, like, the world and just culture and stuff. And he told me that whatever it is, whatever that dance thing is like an actual thing in Siberia. So I can be a little more forgiving of it for that, because I like when that happens. Like, if I look at something and I say, that's pretty stupid, and then you look at me and you say, well, that's an actual thing, then it becomes less stupid because that's an actual thing. It's only stupid because I feel like they made that up for the sake of making it up, which they didn't. It's just a utilization of a cultural thing, in which case it's fine, even if I still think it's kind of stupid. It's fine.
A dance battle. A dance battle! Why not? Sonic and Tails are having a dance battle in a bar, in a pub, so that they can stop themselves from getting thrown in a fire. So that happens, and of course the whole time, like, they need the map. Oh no, we need the map, but they've got the map. And, like, okay, here's the point where it's like, I just saw Sonic clean his disgusting house in 3 seconds. I've seen him zip across entire counties in a second. Grab the map. Grab the map.
See, this is one of your good points because that is exactly what I thought when I was watching that scene. Like, they were trying to heighten the stakes and be like, oh, you want the map? Come get. And then I'm like, you can just go get right now. You don't need to win the dance battle. You just go get. And it's like, but whatever.
At any point, just run over there and grab it. Oh no, there's the map. Grab the map and zip out of there. You'll be out in a second. No, you gotta.
Well, no, they can't. Okay, that's the thing. That's the thing. I just thought of it. I just proved both of us wrong here. There was a storm. That's the whole thing. They had to stay in the cabin. So if they just grabbed the map and booked it out of there, then they still need shelter. The way they ended up doing it, by winning the dance battle, winning the respect of everyone, and getting to stay there for the night, that was the only viable option, really. Because if he zipped over and stole the map, then that would have gotten them mad at them, and that would have wrecked the dance battle, and then they wouldn't have been able to stay there. Okay, so, see, we gotta think about things. Me and you, because I made the mistake too.
Have a dance battle, because of course you have to have a dance battle. And so, like, that's the beginning of, like, seeing scenes. Like, that's the thing about this movie, is it's a 2-hour movie. It is a 2-hour kids movie, and there are entire scenes where you're like, okay, that could have just not been there. It doesn't need to be 2 hours.
Technically, the dance battle was necessary because that's what introduced Tails' cloning maneuver, which was used in the climax. So, if that wasn't introduced beforehand and he just whipped that out in the climax, then all the critics would be like, hey, where the fuck did that come from? Oh my god, such a fucking convenient thing to have. But they cleverly introduced it in a not really high stakes area. That way, when it comes into the high stakes area, everybody's gonna shut the fuck up. But, yeah. That's a whole different thing.
You could have just chopped that whole thing out, and it would have been fine. It's even worse. Oh my gosh. Oh, this hurts. This hurts to... I'm going to describe another scene. No, it's not a scene. It's not a scene. It's a series of scenes. It is a section, a significant section of the movie. I'm going to try my best here. So James Marsden, his sister-in-law doesn't like him. She's getting married. Oh, you better not mess up my wedding. Okay, yeah, it's gonna mess up the wedding. Whatever. So then, like, he has to save Sonic. Sonic and Tails are being chased by an avalanche across the world, and he has to throw out a ring. And you saw it in the trailers. And then all the snow comes out of the rings, and it ruins the wedding. Oh no, you ruined the wedding. Like, cut. End of scene. Right there.
No, Arlo. Arlo, do you know nothing of storytelling? That is the worst thing you could do. That's horrible. No. If you set up a thing about a wedding, and you set up that James Marsden should not ruin the wedding, and then he ruins the wedding, you don't just cut. You don't just end and then move on. That's not how you tell a story. You set something up, you need to pay it off. You set something up, you pay it off. Now we need to see the aftermath of that action because the movie is not fucking over yet. This is an entire subplot, and I know your point is, why is it an entire subplot? It shouldn't be an entire subplot. But the way you're suggesting it is that the subplot remains, but you just don't pay it off properly. I would have understood if you just said, oh, remove the entire wedding section. But that's not what you're saying. You're saying wreck the wedding and then don't ever show where that leads. And that's just not how you write a story.
You did it. You saved Sonic. You ruined the wedding. It's funny. She's mad at you. Awesome. Done. No, that's not the end. my friends. That's not the end at all. That should have ended there.
No, it shouldn't have.
It should have ended there. But no. It turns out that everybody in the wedding was actually an undercover agent. And this wedding was an operation to capture Sonic. Even her fiancé was in on it. And all the hotel staff at the entire resort, everyone in Hawaii, was in on this operation to capture Sonic. How did they know Sonic was gonna be there? How did they know he was being chased by an avalanche and James Marsden was gonna use a ring to teleport him into the wedding? Where we were like, okay, we have to be missing something. We have to. This can't be the logic they're trying to get. I don't get it.
Arlo, think with me for a second. Think with me. Let's think about this, okay? It's called Operation Catfish. It's a government operation. The end goal of the government operation is to find Sonic. And the government has clear suspicion that James Marsden and Tika Sumpter are still harboring him somehow, or have some sort of connection with him. So the end-all be-all of Operation Catfish is to get Sonic. And that was not supposed to happen at the wedding. Their goal was to infiltrate the family by marrying the sister, and then gain the trust of the family. And then once they are close into the family, hopefully James Marsden will reveal to them Sonic the Hedgehog, and then beautiful, operation complete. But lucky them, Sonic jumped the gun a little and kind of just revealed himself at the wedding. You gotta. That's the thing. You gotta think. You gotta put the pieces together. You're offered the pieces. You put them together. A puzzle is dumped out in front of you. You don't just look at the puzzle and be like, this puzzle makes no sense. You look at the puzzle and you take the pieces and you fit them together, and then suddenly the story makes sense. And I'm not saying that a story should just like not make sense at all and you just have to piece it all together yourself, but tiny things like that don't need to be spoon-fed to you. It's like having a proper character arc. Like, you don't want that type of stuff just spoon-fed to you. You want to be able to naturally see the character arc without someone being like, oh my god, I'm so glad that I matured this much over the movie, because then you're just being spoon-fed information, and people aren't that stupid. People have brains, and people can think, and people can figure stuff out for themselves. I don't think this is really a spoiler for Batman, but it's something they do in the new Batman movie, where in the beginning of the movie, Batman monologues, and he's like, I am vengeance. And then in the end of the movie, he's like, I am not vengeance. And it's like, oh, I'm so glad you had that character arc and fucking monologued it to me in the beginning and the end of the movie, because I could not see that character arc on my own, because I am just so stupid that I can't even recognize simple basic character arcs. And this is the reason writers feel the need to spoon feed stuff to people. Because when people complain about things that make perfect sense with a little bit of thought put into it, whatever, you get my point.
Why didn't they just go to Sonic's house? They know where Sonic lives. If they know he's attached to James, why? We can't. We're and like it gets so much worse. Again, sure, end it there. That was ridiculous. I don't understand it at all. Just none at all. Not even in a cartoon logic kids movie kind of way.
Well, the thing is, the government has no real, like, no reasonable suspicion to think that James Marsden still has Sonic. That's why they need to go with this approach. They need to get in there. They need to get in there without like being all direct about it. Because ever since the thing with Sonic, there hasn't really been in the first movie, there really hasn't been any proof that Sonic is still around, except for, I guess, what he did in Seattle, but that was, well after Operation Catfish was already, underway.
Can I understand that? I don't get it. Am I missing something? Let me know in the comments. Did I not get it? And then the government guys capture James Marsden and Sonic, and then you get Tika Sumpter and her sister going on this odyssey to save them, and for the sister to be mad at the guy who was gonna, and so like they're just trying, and they've got like the backpack of Tails' inventions, and they're like bumbling their way and using them to like kill a bunch of guys, and it goes on, and then there's a big like face off. But
I'm sorry, an Odyssey that goes on and on? Did you watch the movie? It's like 2 fucking scenes, Arlo. It's like 2 fucking scenes. From when Sonic gets captured to when he's rescued, it's like 5 minutes at most. You wanted me to explain to you what happens? Sonic gets captured by the government. Tika and her sister talk to each other. Tika says, I'm gonna go save James and Sonic. And the sister says, I'm gonna go get revenge on Randall, who is the, her husband, or whatever. And so they grab Tails' backpack, they send one guy flying into a gravitational pull, they throw a boomerang at 4 other guys, and then Tika's sister drives a go-kart into Randall, and then is like, Randall, you bitch, and then Randall's like, I love you, and then Tika saves Sonic and Tails. It is not at all a meaty scene. It goes by so fast, and I've heard so many people complain about this scene, and like, why is it here? Why is it here? It's out of place in the Sonic movie. And it's like, it's such a small fraction of this Sonic movie. And you want to know what it is? It's because you need to have broad appeal. These human characters were introduced in the first movie so that people who aren't a fan of Sonic can still enjoy the movie. When people who aren't a fan of Sonic go see the Sonic movie, they're not going to latch onto Sonic like the Sonic fans are. They're going to latch onto the human characters because they can understand and relate to the human characters. So when you make a sequel, you need to still be able to please all of your fans. So you lean heavily into the Sonic stuff, clearly, and that's to please the Sonic fans. But then you also need to have this wedding subplot here so you can please the fans who liked the movie but aren't really big Sonic fans. It's that simple. Because if they just like sidelined the humans 100% of the time, then anybody who liked the first movie who isn't a Sonic fan probably isn't really gonna like this movie or go to see the third one because it got too fantasy. Where are my favorite characters, James Marsden and Tika Sumpter? I get that you, as a Sonic fan, want to see 100% Sonic stuff, but it's like 80% Sonic stuff as is, so just let the people who aren't Sonic fans enjoy that 20% of the movie. Just don't be greedy.
between the sister and her husband, and you're like, I don't know these characters. I do not know these characters. I don't care about these characters. The sister was in the first movie for like 2 minutes. And now it's this whole plot line of her and her fiancé, and they have this whole tearful reunion. Did you actually love me? Oh, I broke the first rule of undercover work. Never fall in love with the person that you're pretending to fall in love with. What is happening? Who are these people? I don't care. I don't care. It's just like this ridiculous... It was already such a bad twist in the movie.
I'm so glad you don't care, Arlo, but there are people who do care, as I just explained.
And it just goes on and on and on before they finally save Sonic. And it's just like, what is this? It's another scene that could have just been chopped off. You chop off the dance battle and you chop off this, and you have a nice, clean hour-and-a-half movie.
Oh yeah, chop off like 15 minutes and you just chopped off a half hour. Makes perfect sense.
But it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a kid. Here's the thing, though. My theory, they couldn't chop those scenes. Do you know why? Because those scenes were part of the checklist.
Here we go. He's going to talk about the corporate checklist, quote unquote.
Because this isn't a movie. This wasn't a script they were writing. This was a corporate checklist that they had to fill. And they had to fill all of those boxes, tick all the boxes, and make that into a story, whether or not it worked. And like, just throughout the entire movie, I can see the checklist. I can see the list the executives gave to the writers the whole time. So like, okay, yeah, you're writing the Sonic movie. Okay, we got to have a dance battle. Okay, we have to have a crashed wedding because you got to make sure there's enough humans for the parents. We got to have at least one.
Oh, so you understand that some people like the humans and that the humans are necessary for the people who aren't Sonic fans. You understand that. So why are you complaining about it? And why the fuck would a dance battle be on a corporate checklist? Why? Because kids like dancing? Ooh, kids dance. Whoop doop 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 doop. It's such a visual spectacle for the children. I guess it's kind of understandable. Like, that's definitely 100% why they put it in the movie. But this corporate checklist point you're trying to make is so stupid. I'm sorry.
One fart joke. Sonic has to hurt himself and say nailed it. And there have to be at least 5 or 10 references to modern tech services like Uber and stuff, you know? And we need more flossing and more Fortnite dances that are separate from the dance battle, totally separate. And then, of course, the precious references. Ooh, let's talk about the references. If you, watching this right now, if you have the ability to feel that this movie is some sort of love letter to Sonic because of all the references and Sonic imagery, I'm jealous. I want to be in your position. I am happy for you. I wish I was you. I do not have the ability to feel the same way. I can't. The references, they didn't do much for me because the rest of the movie is so terrible and so far removed from Sonic and what I like about Sonic.
Alright, here's the thing. A lot of the references to the Sonic franchise are very obscure. Like, this is not some corporate checklist bullshit. Like, I guarantee you the executives didn't give you a checklist and say, hey, you need to reference Sonic Riders for me in this fucking owl statue. Like, that's such an obscure thing. I didn't even know that was a thing until someone told me that was the thing. And I'm a huge Sonic fan. I never played Sonic Riders, but I've played, like, almost everything else. And it's like, there's so many obscure references, and it's like, I'm not gonna say it's like a love letter to Sonic fans, but, like, clearly people care, and people know what they're doing. And again, I'm not gonna label you or anything because I don't know your experience with the Sonic franchise, but you give off this vibe that you are a very casual Sonic fan. You're not like big into the franchise. You like the Genesis games and maybe Sonic Colors, and that's about it. And now you're going here talking about how bland the references were, and it's like, you probably just missed all of the good ones.
And like I said, like, after seeing the first movie, seeing the trailer for this one, like, you can see all the imagery, and it's just like, surely they got someone who cares about stuff. Like, they had to. They had to have. But, like, the references are almost entirely artificial. They're just, like, they're part of the checklist. They're just stapled on. We have to have him up on a building like in Sonic Adventure, and we have to have him snowboarding like Sonic 06, and we have to have that badly drawn Sonic picture meme again, even though we already referenced it in the first movie.
Was Sonic in Sonic 2? I've seen the movie twice so far, and I didn't even notice that.
And we gotta have Sonic say, gotta go fast. It doesn't do anything for me.
That's the thing, though. I feel like saying gotta go fast, they did it better in the second one. Because in the first one, you give some, like, they put smelling salts under Sonic's nose, and then he wakes up and says gotta go fast and wrecks the kitchen. But in the second movie, he's in a rush to get to the Master Emerald, and then he crouches by water, and he's like, water, why is it gotta be water? Alright, here we go. I gotta go fast. And he says it, and it sounds a lot more natural in the second movie. It took me a solid 5 seconds to even register that he said gotta go fast, because he said it just like a normal thing to say instead of like a catchphrase.
That's not stapling this kind of stuff onto a generic Hollywood schlock movie. Like, that doesn't make it a love letter. I mean, I don't use the word pandering a lot, but that's what it feels like to me. Let's just make the same generic, boring garbage and staple on a bunch of references. That's literal pandering right there. That's just being like, hey, look at us. Look, we got the memes. We got the references. Oh. The humor's bad. That's really the main, like, it almost doesn't even matter what happens. I am complaining about the plot, but like, if the humor's good, I'll enjoy pretty much anything, you know? It's not good here. It's bad. It's bad. It's even worse than the first movie. It's like every lazy, cliched kids movie catchphrase in the book is in this movie. And that, to me, like, maybe I'm particularly sensitive to that kind of stuff, because that makes it feel like you're not writing a movie. You're not writing a movie for people to enjoy. You're not writing a movie that you would even enjoy. You're just writing a movie with jokes that you know kids have laughed at before, so you just put, like, that's the mark of a bad movie. An Illumination trailer played, and it was just before the movie. It's the same thing. It's all the same horrible jokes from a lazy screenwriter. Oh, and Jim Carrey. Man, I'm so torn on Jim Carrey. I like Jim Carrey. There's part of me that loves the super cartoonish, over-the-top shtick that he's got, you know? Like the Grinch, his Grinch. I'm one of the few people that just absolutely loves that movie, because it's fun. I like seeing this larger-than-life character who's a human, but he's like a cartoon character. And it's like, I go back and forth between being like, he is funny and kind of charismatic, and just being like, it's too much. This is Jim Carrey cranked up to 12. This is like, it's every second he's on the screen, it's so over the top. I
cannot but agree with you here, Arlo. Jim Carrey changed a lot from the first movie over to the second movie, and I honestly liked how he was in the first movie a little better. In the first movie, he was a government agent with a bunch of government drones and robots, and he was highly intelligent, but he was also kind of cocky, and he had plenty of serious lines explaining his character and how he thinks that humans are flawed and robots are perfect, and that he doesn't need humans. And even Agent Stone, the one human who's close to him, he says, like, I don't care about you, I only care about my machines. And even though he's Jim Carrey silly, I can still, like, take him seriously as a villain, because of those times he is serious. I'd say it's like a 60-40 split to serious to silly, or 50-50 if I'm being generous. But in Sonic 2, it's like a 90-10. It's like a 90% silly and 10% serious. And I really love when he gets serious and he says those serious lines. And I could be fine with him being silly 90% of the time if all the jokes land, but I feel like only 50% of his jokes in this movie land for me. And it's, like, sad. And what's worse is that it fits his character perfectly, because he's been stranded on a mushroom planet with no one to talk to for almost a year. So it makes perfect sense why his character completely shifted from a very intelligent person who just thinks that humans are imperfect and machines are better, to just some psychopath who cracks jokes every 2 seconds and is completely obsessed with Sonic. Like, it makes sense why his character would have such that drastic shift, but I just feel like they could have handled it better. I still love Jim Carrey in this movie. He's fucking amazing, but, like, he's not as funny as I wished him to be. Because pretty much all his jokes in the first movie landed for me, and that's not the case here.
So, but like I said, I kind of like it sometimes, and other times it's just like, stop. It's too much frosting on the cake. You know what I mean? It's just, oh man. And it's funny because, like, the first movie has this, like, 45-minute long scene where he just dances, and it was, like, probably the worst part of the movie because it's just like, what is this? And so, like, every time he would, like, start to do, like, a dance, like, me and Brian are just like, no. Like, don't do it again. No, please. You know what's funny? The annoying, overly stupid comic relief character I normally really don't like. The character Wade. He's like a deputy police guy or whatever. In the first movie, he was the character that, like, was the closest to having me chuckle a couple times, even though I could see what they were doing with him. And it's funny because, like, I don't know if it's just because the rest of the movie was so bad and the humor was, like, so consistently bad, but, like, he was in this movie and, like, he had some of the best lines in the movie. Like,
yeah, Wade is pretty funny.
I don't know if it was just the context. I don't know if otherwise we would have thought it was that funny, or we were just, like, looking for something funny. But, like, he had some lines that had us just laughing our butts off. So I liked him. He had some really funny lines. I liked him. So, okay, this is the part where you're screaming at your screen right now. You're screaming at me. Arlo, it's a kids movie.
No, it's not at all what I've been saying at all. I hate that argument. Oh, it's a kids movie. Kids movies can be good. Kids movies have been good. Kids movies are fucking great a lot of the time. Sometimes I think kids movies can be even better than, like, more mature films. Because the thing about having no boundaries is there's no creativity. When you're bound by restrictions, then you can really get creative and work around those restrictions to tell a really good story. But then you'll have no restrictions, and then you'll do whatever the fuck, and then it doesn't end up being good. I'm talking mostly for comedies, from kids to adults. Like, I feel like adult dramas can be, like, have really good writing and stuff. And there's no such thing as a children's drama, so there you go. But whatever.
It's a kids movie. Just relax, man. Kids will think it's funny. And I talked about this in my review of the first movie, and I will repeat it now, even though I know it is pointless and no one will listen to it. And whatever, I'm still gonna say it. Kids movies can be good. Is the thing. Yes, a kid is more likely to enjoy this movie, and I will allow them to do so. I will not stop them. Sure, but, like, a kid's movie can also be good. Kids movies can appeal to both adults and kids. Like, that, a successful family movie works for both. Some of my favorite movies of all time are kids movies. The Lego movie single-handedly proved that you can have the most kid-likey, like the most silly, oddball, kid-centric humor that is still funny. It's not cliched, it's not copy-pasted garbage. It's still funny, and it's good for adults, and it's just a good movie.
Arlo, are you kidding me? The Lego movie is a great movie, but that movie is pure, unfiltered references. That entire movie. So many of those jokes are just, oh my god, I'm Batman and I throw a batarang. Alfred. Remember that one scene in Cloud Cuckoo Land where Emmett was supposed to give a speech And then he's just like, oh my god, Dumbledore, Gandalf, the entire NBA Lakers team, and that was just the joke. Oh my god, look, it's Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtle and Abraham Lincoln from history book. That's what that was. And while we're talking about this, I'm going to call back to something before you said. I also think it's really funny how you're trying to compare this to Detective Pikachu, saying, oh, Detective Pikachu was in the world of Pokemon, and Sonic is not in the world of Sonic, it's in the real world. Because, I didn't say this before, but yeah, technically, Detective Pikachu is in the Pokemon universe, but it really hardly is. The entire thing about that movie is that it's not like the games. They moved to Rhyme City because it's so different. There's no Pokemon trainers in Rhyme City. Pokemon just sort of live and exist with people. There's one scene in that entire movie with a Pokemon battle in it. Sure, it's in the games universe, but it's nothing like the games. It's not similar at all. It might as well just be the real world with Pokemon. It's just hypocritical. Moving on.
For everybody. That's a thing that can happen when you, like, care and you try. You know? Oh, man, I'm going to get roasted for this. Oh, my gosh. Just saying stuff like that. I'm sorry. That's the way that it feels. If someone who wrote this movie does care about it, I'm sorry. I still hate it. I still think it's so... Oh, okay, sorry. Point is, kids' movies can be good. They don't have to be formulaic, focus-tested, copy-pasted junk. Kids will like it because they don't know any better. It doesn't excuse a bad movie. It's still a bad movie. Like it can still have good humor that's, like, natural, and it's just genuinely funny. You know what they do in this movie a whole lot? Constantly. They'll just say a line that's, like, nonsense. They'll just say something, and you're like, what are they even talking about? Oh, it's because they were setting up a joke. Like, they will shoehorn in as many of these jokes as they can and just, like, wreck what people are trying to say because they're trying... Oh, yeah, it's because they wanted to say that joke, and they had to, like, force it in. And
example, please, because I don't even know what that means. I never even felt like that ever happened when I watched the movie.
Instead of, like, making it natural. Okay, also, on the whole kids movie argument, what is this movie? Is this movie aimed at kids? Or is it a love letter, quotes, packed with references that are exclusively for all of the 20 and 30-something people who grew up playing these games? Because I don't feel like they can have both in this.
Arlo, what the fuck? What is that statement? Are you kidding? What? Ever heard of something called broad appeal? This movie wants to reach a wide amount of people. It has those references and the Sonic lore to appeal to Sonic fans. It has the humans and the real world and the people to appeal to everyone else. They're trying to please as many possible people as they can. That is the goal. And I know you can say, like, oh, you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. But the point is, not everything has to have a target audience. You can have a Sonic movie with a lot of Sonic lore and a lot of Sonic references that can still be enjoyed by other people who aren't Sonic fans for the sole reason that it's not set exclusively in the Sonic universe. Because if you want to have a Sonic movie filled with Sonic references in the Sonic universe that delves deep into Sonic lore, you kind of have to be a Sonic fan to enjoy it, because you wouldn't get the references otherwise. That's why the humans are here. I've explained this several times already, but it's for broad appeal. It's so that other people can enjoy the movie while it's still being a Sonic movie with Sonic references and Sonic lore. It's very simple.
this case. Kids aren't going to get those references if they came to just enjoy it. Like, they don't know what those references are. They don't care. But then, like, if the references are for me, because I grew up playing the games, but it's a bad kids movie, what do I care about the references? You know, like, the references don't make it any less of a bad, dumb kids movie. Also, if it's a kids movie, why is it a kids movie? Most Sonic fans, most people who know who Sonic is, are not kids. It's...
Oh, yeah, I completely agree, Arlo, actually. 100%. Like Sonic fans, most of them, they're not kids. You are so right about that. You're so right about that. Why is this Sonic movie PG? Why is it a kids movie? We need a dark, gritty, R-rated Sonic film. I think that would be something. That would be a love letter to Sonic fans right there. We can get Shadow in it. He can have guns. He could say, "God damn it," and fucking shit, and be like, "Oh, you fucking Sonic, I am the ultimate fucking life form, fuck." It'd just be like a complete love letter to Sonic fans, and it'd be beautiful, since most Sonic fans are adults anyway.
It's the classic mistake of the out-of-touch studio executive to make a product using an IP, not for the actual audience of the IP, but for the audience they think it should have. You know, it's like the Pokemon thing. You can't say it's like this because it's for kids when we have seen raw data. The majority of Pokemon fans are not kids.
Okay, it goes back to the broad appeal thing. I explained how this movie wants broad appeal, how it wants to appeal to a lot of people, and the Sonic games and the Sonic franchise and the Pokemon gaming franchise is the same thing. I want to appeal to a lot of people, but that doesn't mean the target audience isn't children. Just because the vast majority of Pokemon and Sonic fans are 20 and 30-year-olds doesn't mean you need to appeal directly to the 20 and 30-year-olds while disregarding the kids, because the target audience is still children regardless of how many adult fans there are. And they throw in the references and they throw in all that deep Sonic lore shit because they want to like say like, "Hey, older fans, we recognize you. Here you go. Look at this. You'll appreciate that." But then it's also a kids film because it's a kids game. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. Target audience is children, and that's why it's a kids movie. I feel like I shouldn't have to be explaining this.
They are adults. That is a simple fact. Okay, so there's another thing people will inevitably say to me, and you better believe I got a whole spiel for it. They're gonna say, "Arlo, relax, man. It's just dumb fun. You're not supposed to take it seriously. Just relax and enjoy it for what it is." I can do that.
Yeah, here's the thing. I kind of half agree with this because dumb fun does exist. Like the Impractical Jokers movie is just dumb fun. I love the show. I love the movie. But it's not a good movie. It doesn't have a good story. It's just like a lazily written up plot strung together by hidden camera challenges. It's not a good movie. It doesn't have a good story, but it's dumb fun and I love it and I love the story no matter what. But this Sonic movie is not dumb fun. It cost thousands, millions of dollars for this CG, these actors, these big set pieces. You wouldn't spend this much money on just dumb fun. There's a difference.
I can do that in some cases. Absolutely. You know, I've enjoyed movies that I just think it's dumb fun. I like it for... It's not... You know, Pacific Rim. Very flawed. It did have too much boring stuff, but like I still ended up thinking that the robot stuff was fun enough. I still enjoyed the movie. There has to be something there that is enjoyable for me to think it's enjoyable. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like when people like bad horror movies, and there are some horror movies that are so baffling and so bad that they're fun. But, like, there are lots where people are like, "Oh, man, it's funny, Sharkzilla," or whatever. And it's like, it's not even funny. It's not even good. There's no entertainment value. It's not good because it's... I can't just relax and enjoy it because it's just not good. That's like saying, okay, here's a hamburger. Just enjoy the hamburger for what it is. You know, I don't mind that it's filled with gravel. They just put a bunch of gravel between the cheese and the lettuce. And every 10 seconds, someone runs up and slaps you in the face while you're eating. Just enjoy it for what it is. I can't.
This is why I love Arlo. His stupid fucking food analogies, they're so amazing. They always laugh. Okay, good one, Arlo.
I'm sorry. Okay? I can't enjoy the good parts when I'm constantly just biting into rocks. It's like, and I really did try. Like, honestly, like, the best parts of the first movie were when you had just like this spectacle of just like Sonic is doing something fast and fighting robots or whatever, you know, or like the end where it's like, you know, like where it's just I can kind of like ignore all the outside stuff and for a few moments be like, whoa, I am sitting in a theater and I'm watching a Sonic movie. This is so cool. And they're just such tiny little snippets. And so I thought that because this movie was going to have a lot more, like, Sonic stuff, you know, emeralds and knuckles and all, like a lot more imagery, I thought that that would just automatically make it more enjoyable. But it's like, it has even more of that other asinine, annoying stuff that it's like I couldn't. I tried so hard to zero in, but every time I was about to start enjoying myself, something would come in. The horrible cliched one-liner would come in. A human character would be like, whoa, hey, look, parents, we're still here. Don't get bored with these boring cartoon characters. No, we're still here. You know what I mean? Like, it never stopped. It never slowed down enough for me to just be like, whoa, Sonic is fighting Knuckles, and it's cool. Like, maybe just for, like, a few moments here and there, but then it just, like, instantly shattered. Just right away. And just like, and I can't even stress enough, I know I've said it plenty, but just the human stuff. Like, it's just because the executives are scared of making an actual Sonic movie. Just with any video game movie, they're scared of actually doing it. They
Rightfully so. Have you seen the track record?
need people to be able to relate to it, and the people who don't. So it's just, that's why the humans are there. And so it's just, just every time I wanted so badly to enjoy it. And it's just like, nah, look at this instead. Oh, Sonic is fighting the giant Eggman robot. Oh, this is finally getting good. And there's James Marsden and Tika Sumpter coming in their truck to bring back the whole family thing. Oh. It's like I have Sonic in my heart. You know, like I have the childhood nostalgia. See, like whenever you see Sonic and Knuckles and Tails on screen all at once, just as a snapshot, there's definitely this little thing inside of me that's like, oh, like that's so cool, and the colors are striking, and then it looks, you know, like it's Sonic and Knuckles and Tails, and they're on the big screen, and like they came so close. It had so much potential to be exciting, but it just, I ain't done. I'm not done. I got more. I'm getting tired, but I got more.
I'm getting tired too, Arlo. Very, very tired.
Another issue that also made it really difficult to enjoy the parts that I should have enjoyed was like, okay, suspension of disbelief. It's necessary for basically any movie. I get it, absolutely, but I have...
Okay, as he goes through this whole spiel, I just want to say, in advance, I'm just going to say how I feel on it because I'm really tired and I don't want to, like, stop it every time just to make the point. So he's basically going to go on to say, like, the powers are inconsistent. Sometimes Sonic is super speedy, and sometimes he's not super speedy, and sometimes he can just run over and grab a map, but he doesn't. And sometimes Knuckles is as fast as Sonic, and Tails is as fast as Sonic, and sometimes they aren't. And I just want to say, like, generally, I do agree, but I feel like he over-exaggerates the inconsistencies of the powers, and it's really not that hard to, like, that suspension of disbelief is not that hard. Like, the disbelief is not that hard to suspend. You don't have to suspend as much disbelief as he's letting on, basically.
Limits to how much I can suspend. Dark Knight Rises. Did not like that movie. Kinda hated that movie. Because, like, the first two movies made sense, and then in the third one, all of a sudden, every action scene, everything that anyone does doesn't make sense. They use this wacky cartoon logic where it just everything. They try to do a thing and you're like, that doesn't work that way. Why did they do that? Why didn't they just do, you know what I mean? The thing that makes you like, I can't even suspend the disbelief. I can't immerse myself in the experience because I'm just yelling at the screen and being like, why would you do that? That's not how those things work. So, like, Sonic and Tails and Knuckles, their powers are completely inconsistent the entire time. So off the wall inconsistent that, like, all of us were just like, what the heck? Why did that happen? You know, it's just like with Sonic, like, why didn't you take the map? Why didn't you just zip over there and take the map out of his hands, you know? There's a bad guy, like, oh, Eggman's about to grab the emerald. Run over there! Run over there! It changes from shot to shot. In this shot, Sonic, like Tails, is zipping over the landscape just as fast as Sonic. And over here, in this shot, Knuckles is faster than Sonic. He's like beats him somewhere. But then in this other scene, of course, Sonic is back to being fast. And in this scene, Sonic is running, but he's not like, pew, Sonic running. He's just like just run. It's like, why are you running that slow? It just doesn't. Just the whole time, the most ridiculous, frustrating movie logic. Like, I can suspend it. I promise you. Plenty of movies that I forgive because at least I can be immersed. And this one is just like, no, this is every single shot is just stupid. And like that, oh my gosh. And that's the thing. It's not even just the action. It's not even just the inconsistent powers. The whole movie is filled with just nonsense. Just nonsense. Just things that happen and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. Nonsense. Because that's the way that they wrote it, so that's the way that they shot it. Even though it doesn't read. It doesn't come through that way. So like, James Marsden, his sister-in-law is marrying this guy. And the whole joke is he's like this super good-looking, big, huge buff guy. And they're like playing a sport or something. And the big buff guy has all of his bros and they're all big and buff. And all of a sudden, they're writing James Marsden to be like the nerdy little dweeb who's like trying to go up against these guys, and he looks over at his team of people that we don't know, and they're dweebs or whatever, and like, James Marsden is ripped. He's ripped. He's also a big buff guy. So like, the husband guy is like, oh, hey, show me your muscles, and he shows his big, huge muscle, and then James Marsden's like, oh, ha, ha, heh, heh, and like flexes his muscle, and this giant bicep bulges out of his shirt. They're trying to communicate to us that he's a weak little dweeb, and he's just objectively not. But that's the way they wrote the scene. That's the way they wrote this.
Even if you're ripped, if you're on a team full of dweebs up against a team full of other ripped guys, you, a one ripped guy against 5 other ripped guys with 4 dweebs on your side, you're still gonna fail.
James Marsden, he's a lame little guy compared to, like, it doesn't, just constantly, like, what? Why are they just assuming that makes sense and that works? And the effects were bad.
No, they weren't. They weren't.
Like, the effects were not good. I mean, like, they're serviceable most of the time, but, like, and I thought, like, this is probably just me, but, like, no, like, all my friends were just like, wow, that looked really bad. Like, there's so many different scenes where it just doesn't look good. They clearly rushed it. The other movie came out like a couple of years ago. They rushed this movie. There are some shots where it doesn't help that when I was ordering the tickets, I thought that the screen was on the other side. So I was trying to order seats that were like further back, and I ended up putting them pretty close to the front. So we had a big close-up view. Probably didn't help, but like there were a lot of scenes where just like there's just an effect, and you're like, that looked bad.
Wherever you are, at Rasmussen University, green means go.
Eat, play, combo! Come to Dave & Buster's for the limited time eat and play combo.
It just didn't look good. It didn't turn out right. And even like the animation isn't that good. The way that the characters talk, like it's okay, but it really isn't that expressive or anything. And like other little things, you know, like Knuckles, they look like plush toys, you know, like it's definitely improvement over the old design, but then like Knuckles has like gloves instead, like his fists, they're like gloves, but they're like these big plushy gloves, and it just makes him look like a big plushy.
Yeah, that's the thing about Sonic characters. It's like the amusement park mascot issue. Like, in the games, these Sonic designs, the characters, they're just not built to be that expressive, and they're just built to look like plushies like that. Like, what they could have done is they could have changed the design and altered the design, and then the characters could have been more expressive. But then the internet would throw a bitchy fit about how they changed the designs, so it's just better to do this. It's simpler.
Stuffed animal or something. Here's another thing. I got so many things. I already hate all of the sappy human stuff. You know, the first movie, it felt so forced. It was just like this whole theme of friendship. Oh, you're my friend, aren't you? Yeah, it turns out we're friends, and friends is what makes the hearts happen and beat the bad guy. So like, it's already so, and then this one is about being a hero and taking responsibility, blah, blah, blah. And like, it's already uncomfortable and weird and boring. But now, the theme in this movie is he's not their friend, he's their son. And like, I get the relationship. He's young, they want to protect him, and there's even one part in the movie where she's like, let's go get our son. And like, it's kind of heartwarming that she would refer to him that way. It's kind of like, oh man, it's like, it's nice. Like, that's nice. But then they go too far. Then like at the end of the movie, he calls James Marsden dad. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Pump the brakes. You can't, like, you can kind of say he's like their son, but to the point where he's literally calling them mom and dad.
Yeah, agreed. That was pretty weird.
This is a Sonic movie. This is the Sonic movie that I am watching in a theater. It's got Sonic calling James Marsden and Tika Sumpter mom and dad. I'm your son now. I live in the real world in your house with your dog, and I'm your little baby Sonic boy. What? Wow! Why? What is that? It's so weird and awkward. And like, the ending, it ends, of course, Tails abandons wherever he came from. Who cares? Because they don't care at all. And we only know about Tails because of all that. Oh my gosh, that's the thing I didn't even mention. The exposition dumps. The story, the plot is so bad that like every once in a while, someone will just be like, blah, 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 blah. I come from this place, and just these exposition dumps.
Alright, here's the thing about the exposition dumps. Yeah, exposition dumps are a sign of bad writing, but there was really no other way for them to naturally get those points across besides exposition dumps. Like, it makes perfect sense that they're gonna go into an ancient ruin and see some ancient inscriptions, and then Tails is gonna explain the origin of the Master Emerald. It makes total sense that Sonic is gonna meet Tails, and then Tails is gonna explain where he came from. Like, Tails' origin wouldn't work as an opening scene for the movie. That'd feel weird, and it just wouldn't work. And it makes sense that Knuckles would explain his origin. Okay, that's the one that could have changed. Knuckles' origin could have worked as an opening scene for the movie. That is the one exposition dump that could have been reworked to not be where it was. But other than that, there's only like 3 exposition dumps, and they were all fine.
Which is always a mark of just terrible writing. And a bad story is when you have to keep just like dumping all this info. But even then, the info doesn't even fill in all the blanks. So that's a whole other thing. So at the end, Tails abandons his world that he can. My home world. What's your home world? Where do you live? What is this multiverse? There are apparently aliens everywhere, and nobody's even like acknowledging that. Knuckles, same thing. Oh, I left my family behind. I'm blah blah. I'm your friend now.
Arlo, what? Are you fucking kidding? This is how I know you didn't give the movie the fair shot it deserves. You clearly didn't even pay enough attention to comprehend the story fully. Knuckles says 5,000 times in the fucking movie that he's the last of the Echidna tribe. And one of those dreaded exposition dumps you're talking about, he explains how his entire family died. How did you not catch that?
I used to be this intergalactic warrior, and now I'm their son. Like they're a family now. Like, the end scene. I'm watching a Sonic movie. Oh, man. Big Hollywood Sonic movie. And it ends with Sonic and Tails and Knuckles playing baseball. And Sonic calling a guy dad. And then they all decide to go get some ice cream. And Knuckles jumps in and they all jump in, and Knuckles is like, ha ha, I am the warrior of ice cream, ha ha. And they all jump in their nice, brand new Toyota truck and drive off into the sunset. That's the Sonic movie that I just saw. That.
First of all, it was a Chevy. Second, read an Archie comic. I guarantee you, if you just like popped open a Sonic comic, it wouldn't be that hard to find Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles playing baseball or eating ice cream. Like, it's just typical filler bullshit. And I'm sure a stupid-ass comic was written revolving around that concept. I wouldn't be surprised if I looked it up and I found an entire Sonic Archie comic about playing baseball and eating ice cream. That seems like something that I would find.
That's the Sonic movie that I just saw. That's how it ended. Now Sonic and Tails and Knuckles are the little baby boys of these people. They're their kids now. They're their kids, and they're going to live in their house and have slumber parties. That's the Sonic movie. That's Sonic 2. And, post-credits. The big thing. I'm glad I didn't get it spoiled. And you know what? Even though this is a spoiler review, I won't say it here, just in case. Just in case. But I will say, it did have me hooping and hollering just because of, like, just because of it. But, like, it so wasted on this movie. I in that moment, I could not help but imagine a timeline where there was a good Sonic movie. No, not just a good Sonic movie. They're creating a Sonic cinematic universe. There's going to be a third one. There's going to be a Knuckles show. It's a dream come true. And then at the end, this big revelation is just like, oh, like it would be so good, but it was just wasted. Just wasted.
Hey, Arlo, can we think about this again for a second? Let's turn on our brains for a minute and think about it. This entire video you were complaining about humans in Sonic universe, and then you just said that if this was in the Sonic universe where it's just Sonic and animals, and then they introduced Shadow, how much better that would be. But then let's think about Shadow's character and realize how it involves gun and the government of humans and like the real world. And then let's think about Gerald Robotnik and Maria and the Space Colony arc and how all of that kind of requires it to take place in the real world. I just feel like you don't know Shadow or his story because you're a Genesis fan who didn't like the adventure games. I know I'm making assumptions, but this is just like I just don't understand how you can make that point. How you could be like, oh, if they weren't in the real world and this was just Sonic, then Shadow's story would be so much better, when Shadow's story inherently involves the real world and government involvement. But whatever.
So to wrap things up, I didn't like this movie. I didn't have high expectations. I wasn't expecting Shakespeare. You know, I wasn't expecting the best movie ever. I expected just like, it's kind of fun. But it still managed to be just a confusing, cliched mess. Just a mess. The whole thing was rushed. It's clear that they rushed out the script. They wrote a treatment. They said, that works. It checks all the boxes. Get it in production. rush the effects, rush everything, and just do it. Because who cares? They'll go anyway. They'll buy it anyway. You know, it's just like, I don't want to be one of those people that says, you only like this thing because it's because I hate that. I hate it when people do it to me, and it's just wrong. And, like, if you're like, no, I love the movie, I'm not going to be like, you only like it because it's Sonic. But, like, so I'm not saying that, but I am saying that I am confused. I'm very confused with this and the first movie. The first movie looked so bad, and everyone thought it was the worst looking thing ever, and all they changed was Sonic. They didn't change anything else except the design of Sonic, and everyone loved it.
I'll give you this. These movies probably wouldn't have the best reception if it wasn't Sonic. That's a valid point. But then you think about it, and you're talking about the references, and for Sonic 1, you could easily swap Sonic out for like a fucking Speedy Gonzales type cop-outy bullshit, just made up character, and it would have worked perfectly fine. But the second movie that relies a lot on Sonic lore and story and stuff, you can't really make that argument, because if it wasn't a Sonic movie, it would be completely different. You can't have this story and just replace the Sonic characters with other characters. It doesn't work like that. It'd be too different to even make the comparison.
And now it's the same, just the same, the same schlock. And people like it. People love it. Are you? I don't want to say it's just because it's, but like, if it wasn't Sonic, would you? I don't know. That's what I'm not getting. People rip on all these other bad kids movies, and the only difference exclusively between them and this is that this has Sonic in it, and that's where I'm confused. I will think of more things to say about this movie. I will think of other things that I want to point out, and I will be genuinely upset that I didn't remember to say them here, because this is the only chance I've got. This is the thing. This is my video on the Sonic 2 movie. But I gotta wrap it up. I gotta stop somewhere. So I'm stopping right here. Okay, I actually do have one more thing. There's a whole subplot where Sonic can't swim, and he doesn't like the water. And then, like, when that culminates into the thing where he's drowning in the water, you don't play the drowning theme? Dun, 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 dun. Like, really?
It would have been out of place. Yeah, it's an easy thing to hit, but it would have been out of place. That, if I remember correctly, that scene was, like, silent because of the water. Like, he went underwater and it was silent. There wasn't really much music playing, and he was just trying to help Knuckles. And then he's drowning. And it's just like, the time between drowning, sucking up the air bubble, and not drowning anymore was very quick. Sucking up the air bubble was a very quick thing, and the drowning theme would feel out of place. You're all about forced references. That would be the most forced of them all.
That was an easy one. That was a gimme. Sheesh. Same as the last one, I will say, you will probably like it. You probably did like it. You probably like it. Most people like it. And I don't get it. I do not understand it. Not even almost. But if everyone's happy, that's great.
It's very simple. You don't like humans in the Sonic universe, and that completely wrecked any chance of you enjoying this. It's not like, and it's like an aggressive hatred too. I can tell through this review. You basically gave off the vibe that the second any human of any capacity showed their face in this movie, you just let out a groan and fucking shat yourself and was very angry and displeased with literally everything that happened in this movie. the second a human pops up. And then when a human goes away and it's just Sonic stuff, you're like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. I might actually get into it. And then a human pops up, you're like, ugh, and then you shit yourself again. It's your opinion. I'm not gonna disrespect that. I completely understand not wanting humans in the Sonic universe. I totally get it. I really do. You just gotta recognize that it is a big part of Sonic and Sonic lore and the Sonic universe. And asking that a Sonic movie take place on exclusively South Island or West Side Island, it's like, it'd be very hard to write a compelling story on that, because the Genesis games don't give you much to work with story-wise. And then the later games that do give you stuff to work with story-wise exist in the real world, and that's a problem for you. And then once they stop existing in the real world again, from Sonic Colors onward, the stories start being like not that in-depth again, except for in Sonic Forces. But everyone hates the Sonic Forces story for whatever reason. I will never understand that. I love that game's story. So basically, what do you want? Do you want a movie with an actual story, with actual characters, with actual stakes, with actual stuff that actually happens? Or do you just want a movie that's filled to the brim with Sonic action sequences, with purely Sonic characters in purely Sonic set pieces doing purely Sonic things? Clearly you want the latter, but then that sacrifices any story potential, and then you left yourself with not a movie, but just like a visual experience that would be 15 to 20 minutes tops. If you see what I'm saying.
You know, there could just be a lot about this movie I just don't understand, because I'm not a big Sonic fan, but that's not it though. It's that the jokes are bad. Being a Sonic fan doesn't make jokes good. I'm happy for everyone. Sonic fan base is happy. They're eating well. And that's great. And it's great. So that's it. I'm going to lose a lot of subscribers. I lost a couple hundred after the last review. And this one is going to lose more. And that's okay. That's okay. If you feel that my opinion on this is not acceptable, you cannot support me anymore, I fully understand.
I'm really sorry, Arlo. I'm sorry that this is how people are. Like, I fucking trashed your opinion a lot in this video of mine, but I would never unsubscribe from you for that. And people who do that are just immature. I didn't like the video. I gave the video a dislike. But why would I give it a like? I didn't like the video. But I love all your other videos. I will still continue to watch your stuff and support you, because you are a good creator and I really like your videos. And just because I disagree with you on one silly stupid thing like the Sonic 2 movie doesn't mean I'm gonna unsubscribe from you or stop watching your videos, because I'm not immature. I disagreed with you on something, I voiced my displeasure with your opinion, and now we move on. Now I don't ever have to think about this again, and I'm not going to. You're going to put out another video, I'm going to watch that video, and I'm not going to watch that video and think, oh yeah, but he didn't like the Sonic 2 movie. I'm going to watch that video and be like, oh yeah, cool, awesome, great. And that's how people should act. But that's not how people act, because we're on the internet. Anyway, I guess that's the end of my video. I really gotta get to bed. I'm tired. It's literally Tuesday. Wednesday now, I guess. So, anybody who watched this whole thing, thank you. Appreciate it. And, see y'all in the next one. I'm still trying to find an editor for my Origami King review. And once I do, that thing will be in post-production, basically. See y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.